Hey kids, it's your teacher Jay, Professor Jay Johnson, and I'm back. And today we're going to be talking about composing and decomposing fractions. Now, we've talked about this in class before. We spent a lot of time on this, adding fractions, comparing fractions. That's what we'll be doing this week. It's all about fractions. So if you need to get your notebook out and brush up on fractions, go ahead and do that because that's what the whole week's going to be about. Composing and decomposing fractions is not that difficult. A lot of you guys already mastered this skill, but we want to go ahead and practice it for today, just to refresh ourselves before we get into the more complex parts of the fractions for fourth grade. And I'm also going to try to introduce you to some of the fifth grade standards as well this week. So get ready. It's going to be a fun week. Two important things. Number one, there's a question link below this, okay? So if you guys need to tell me how you're doing, good, bad, or ugly, if things are going on, if there's anything I can help you with, if it has to do with school or otherwise, you just write in that questions link below. Make sure you put your name, and then I'll know what's going on. If you are somebody that are not one of my students and you have any questions about this video, you can still use that link, but you need to make sure you put your email address or I won't be able to contact you, okay? Also, I'm going to do the format of this video a little different. So if you like it or don't like it, you can also comment there because you cannot comment below this video. It's set up on kid mode, so it blocks the comments, okay? So if you do have anything you want to say, you like this or you didn't like it, go ahead and use that question link. I check that link 2-3 times a week, so I'll make sure that I address it in the next video or the video after next at least. The second important thing is you got to get the joke of the day, right? So this is a horrible joke. It's a dad joke. It's been played out, but it's the only one I had this morning, so I'm going to go with it, okay? It is, why is it that 6 trembles and shakes with fear whenever he sees 7? It's simple, because he knows that 7, 8, 9. You laugh. Everybody's heard that joke. All right, here we go. Let's get started for today. We're going to take you over to the palette here. Now, what we have going on in this is just composing and decomposing fractions. I forgot I'm not supposed to use this marker. I had some problems with the marker earlier. We're going to use this right here, okay? I don't usually like to do math in pen, but as you know, just like on the projector back at school, it doesn't show up so well in the pencil sometimes. So first we'll talk about composing fractions. So let's say we have 1/7. We're going to add it to another 1/7. We want to add that to, let's say, 2/7. What is that going to get us? Well, we know that when we add fractions, if you don't know, I'll tell you, if you add fractions, you want to combine the numerators, but you can only do that when the denominators are the same. So that would actually give me 1 + 1 is 2, plus 2 more will give me 4/7. We just composed a fraction, okay? We composed a fraction. The way that when we add fractions, and I'll review this in the adding fractions video, but when you're adding fractions, check this out. This right here is the denominator. Now, the reason why I'm going to talk about this really quickly is because you have to understand fractions are all instructions. The denominator tells me the total number of parts in a whole. I usually use a little different language on this, but I just try to keep it brief here. The numerator here actually explains to us how many parts we have. You see that? So this tells us how many we have. This tells us the total number of parts that are in a whole. Because this is that set of information, because the denominator tells us how many parts there are in a whole, I cannot take, like, let's say 2/3 and add it to 2/7. I can't just add it like that because it's literally saying that this whole has been split into, I should have did that. It's been split into 1, 2, 3 parts, and I have 2 of them shaded in. And then this whole has been split into, this is going to be ugly. Why did I pick 7? It's been split into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bam, got it. It's been split into 7 parts. So if I try to add these, it doesn't make sense because as you can see, 2 7s are much smaller than 2 3rds. I'm not adding the same size piece, so it doesn't make sense for me to say, oh, the answer is 4. You know, some people do this 4, and then they add the bottom 2 tenths, right? This is absolutely wrong. You should not do that. You can never add the denominators if they're different. Everything we do in this video is you'll notice that the denominators, when we're adding them up, they're the same before, and they're gonna be the same on the other side. Same if I was subtracting, it'd be the same before, same on the other side, okay? So this is right here would be composing fractions. Sorry for the music in the background, kids' toys everywhere. So that's composing fractions. If I wanted to decompose a fraction, decomposing a fraction looks a little different, okay? So in this case, they'll actually give you the fraction at the beginning. So let's say we have 5/8, and then they wanted us to break this down. Well, we got a lot of different options, okay? So we'll just do 3 simple options. Just in this case, I could say, well, I have 5, so 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. That's 4 plus 1/8. Now that combines together and will give me 5/8. You see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could also have said, well, let me just do it like this. Let me just say I have 2 8s and add it to 3 8s. Right? That's 2 plus 3. It's still 5/8. I've still successfully decomposed that fraction. Down here, I could say, let's say we said 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 3 8. Still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 8. In any of these cases, we're still decomposing. You see that? So that's the difference between composing and decomposing. All right, let's review real quick. I had this page set up before. Hold on. Zoom, zoom. Okay, got a whole nother page. Composing fractions. What was it? Composing fractions just means to put smaller fractions together. Okay, we're putting things together on that. Important words are put together. Okay, so imagine if we had a hamburger. There's different pieces to a hamburger, right? You got the top bun, you got the bottom bun, you might have slice of tomato, right? You might have lettuce, and then you might have your actual patty. These are all the different pieces. If I was composing a burger, I would need the different pieces to compose the burger. So we compose it. Okay? Decompose it means to break apart. We want to break apart a fraction into smaller fractions. So, boom, break apart. That's the key word there. Great example of that would be like, let's say if we had I don't know, I guess everybody uses a pie. We'll use a pie too, right? So if we had a pie that was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts, and we only had 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, right? So we had 4, 6, and then we break it into smaller pieces, right? 1, 6 plus 1, 6 plus 1, 6 plus 1, 6. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 separate pieces of pie, right? That's what we did. We just broke this big chunk here into 4 separate pieces. So that's the same thing as decomposing. So let's go ahead and check this out. What fraction are the following fractions equal to? This is the way they might word a decomposing fraction question. Okay, we could say, well, let's see, we have 2 tenths plus 1 tenth plus 6 tenths. What are the following fractions equal to? Well, we just say I got 2 plus 1. That'll give me 3 plus 6 is going to give me 9 tenths. Now, a lot of times when they ask you this, they're going to ask it like this. They're going to ask, they'll give you a fraction like this: 1 tenth plus 1 tenth plus 1 tenth plus 1 tenth. A lot of times when they're doing this skill, they like to break it up into singles, okay, where the numerator is 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, I think a lot of times they do that just because there's a bunch of different answer choices, and they want to make sure that you're counting each one of these and determining that it's 9 tenths or whatever the fraction is. So you want to be very careful of this and make sure that you're looking at every little piece of this when you're trying to find your answer, okay? Count each option. Decomposing. Let's try this one. This is an example of a decomposing question. Decompose 5/8 into smaller fractions. All right, so we have 5/8 here. And we know that for all of our answer choices, they're going to list 5/8 here. Okay? The only thing is they're going to give you answers that look like this: 2/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 2/8. They'll give you maybe 2/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. And then they might give you something like 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. Okay? And they're going to say which is correct, A, B, or C. And you guys, you're watching this video, you can pause it right here, look at it, and determine which one of them is correct. But I'll go ahead and show you. Take a look. This is the strategy we do to solve these. We say, okay, I got 2/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/8. We'll write on the end ourselves what it's equal to. That's equal to 6/8, which is not 5/8. So when we see this number here at the end, we can cross it and we can cross all of it out. That will help us determine what the correct answer is. Go to the next one. 2/8 plus 1/8, that's 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. Oh, wow. Is that what we're looking for? Absolutely. But we always check all the answers. So we go to the next one. So we might put a little check here, come back to it. We have 1/8 plus 1/8, that's 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. We look good, but oh, actually they have a 6/8. This one is 6/8 as well, which is not what we're looking for. That answer is incorrect. B was the right answer, okay? So that right there is an example of what kind of strategy you would do. For this one up here, it's going to be real similar. They'll give you a bunch of different answer choices where it's all set up like this, and you just select the one that's right, and the strategy is the same. After you count everything out here to see what it's equal to, you would just write what it's equal to, just like we did there. So that's the strategies for composing and decomposing fractions. That's all you guys have to do today. It's pretty straightforward. Again, if you have any questions, leave it in that questions thing below. And have a great day, guys. Make it a great week.